Good morning all of you. Our today's topic is feedback in electronic circuits. So first of all, discussing what is feedback. When some part of output signal is fed back to the input, then it is known as feedback. Types of feedbacks are positive feedback and negative feedback. Positive feedback, when feedback signal is in phase with the input signal, it is known as positive feedback. When feedback signal is out of phase with the input signal, it is known as negative feedback. So we can say that when the signal, in case of positive feedback, it will result in the increase in output signal, and in negative feedback signal, in this case, it will result in decrease of the output signal. So first of all, discussing the oscillator, because oscillator uses one of the two feedback. Oscillator uses basically positive feedback. So first of all, discussing what are oscillators. A circuit that produces oscillation of a desired frequency is known as oscillatory circuit. This is our oscillator circuit, which contains of an input signal, a comparator, amplifier and feedback network. Okay, we are providing input signal to the amplifier and we are getting output signal, and some part of output signal is fed back to the input signal again. So that is known as our feedback. So discussing what is a oscillator and why we are using feedback in that. As we know that negative feedback is employed in amplifiers for their stability, whereas positive feedback is used in oscillators for their operation. So first of all, understanding what are the oscillators. An oscillator is a device that generates an AC output signal without any input signal. Okay, so take this point into consideration, that oscillator is a device which generate the output signal without the input signal. So how it is possible? It is possible because of the feedback. Positive feedback is used in the oscillator, and the positive feedback is the only input signal to the oscillatory circuitry. So looking at the circuit, first of all, there is an input signal. We are providing this signal to the amplifier, and amplifier is providing output signal, but some part of output signal is fed back to the input signal, as this is showing that this is a positive signal. So this sort of feedback, this sort of closed loop system is known as this sort of closed loop is called as positive feedback, and this arrangement is used in oscillator. To understand how an oscillator produces an output signal without an external input signal, consider this block diagram, which contains an amplifier with voltage gain A and a feedback network, input signal and an output signal. Okay, a fraction of output signal is fed back to the input signal. It must be ensured in case of oscillator circuit that the feedback is in phase with the input signal. This feedback signal should be in phase with this input signal. Then it will work as a positive feedback. And in oscillator circuit, it is necessary to use a positive feedback to obtain oscillations. Let us assume that input signal is now removed. The only signal which is to drive the amplifier is now the feedback signal, this signal. Now the oscillator circuit can produce three types of waves. So these three types of wave can be produced with this sort of circuit. If the signal is less than unity, the output signal will be this sort of signal, which is known as damped oscillation. And if it is greater than unity, then this sort of signal will be produced, known as underdamped oscillation or grouping oscillation. If it is equal to unity, if the signal is equal to unity, no changes occur in the output and we get an output with constant magnitude. So this sort of wave will be produced. Thus, to obtain this sustained oscillation, these are known as sustained oscillation or undamped oscillation. Thus, to obtain this undamped oscillation, the loop gain of a positive feedback amplifier must be unity, must be 1. So with the help of positive feedback in oscillator circuit, we can get this sort of oscillation.